Hytale has been a massive success so far. I'm sure that Simon and the rest of the Hytale team are thrilled with the reception for their game. And so I thought that it would be an interesting video to talk about all the sorts of games that have been made as mods or servers or community projects created by the community of a game themselves. And although these games would eventually end up being standalone titles, I think a few of them will genuinely surprise you. Obviously, first of all, we know Hytale was started by Hypixel Studios, the team behind Hypixel Server, which was a massive Minecraft server network back in the day. It still is today as well. But let's take a look at some of the other titles. First up, if you're an oldie, you'll probably know this, but if you are a younger gamer, then you might not know this, but Counterstrike, CSGO, Counterstrike 2. That franchise started as a mod for Half-Life, and truthfully, thank God it did, because it defined competitive first-person shooters forever. It is safe to say that Counter-Strike has become one of the strongest and longest-standing shooter franchises of all time. It's one of Valve's flagships, and it just further secures the Steam platform domination. Which brings us to the next title. Dota started as a custom map for Warcraft 3. Originally developed by Nichus, I probably butchered that name, it eventually went on to a new developer under the name of IceFrog, who would eventually be picked up by Valve to create the standalone title Dota 2. And to be perfectly honest, just about every MOBA exists because of the Dota mod. And number 3 is one of my all-time favorites, and that's Dayz. Dayz started as an Arma 2 mod. It was created by Dean Hall. Really, it's the grandfather of all survival games. Rust reportedly based its game off of Dayz. It really wanted to be a zombie survival game. It just ended up deviating somewhere along the way. Dayz also paved the way for that realistic interest in games like Pubg and Tarkov. And it's one of the success stories of the modding community because the makers of Arma would eventually end up picking up Dayz, purchasing it, and turning it into a standalone title. Speaking about Arma, it also started another popular franchise, and that is Pubg. PlayerUnknown's Battleground, created by PlayerUnknown, started out as a mod for Arma 2 and later Arma 3, known as Battle Royale. And once again, this mod would define a whole genre. It would kickstart the Battle Royale genre, and without it, games like Fortnite and Warzone would never have existed. Not to mention Apex Legends, but I forgot about that one, I'm not gonna lie. Next up is Team Fortress. Earlier with Counter-Strike, we talked about Steam's domination, and Team Fortress is another example of that. It started as a mod for Quake, would later become Team Fortress Classic, and then Team Fortress 2, and it's just Valve being Valve and scooping up gold once again. And it really is a pattern, especially with Valve's games, that some of their mods end up becoming huge franchise creators. And the next one is just more evidence of that, because Garry's mod started as a Half-Life 2 mod. It was created by Garry Newman, and the game was designed to become a platform, not just a video game. In fact, it kind of spawned a whole gaming YouTube era, because Garry's mod, together with Call of Duty and Minecraft, kind of was responsible for the early growth of channels like Vanoss Gaming, Cnanners, Hutch, Sark, Yogscast, and many others. It still is today. If you've never heard of this next game, don't feel bad. I didn't either until I started researching this video, but it's The Forgotten City. It started as a mod for Skyrim, and it really is a community project turned into a full game. It's critically acclaimed, it won many awards as a standalone title, and it is just the proof that mods can become some of the most successful games in the industry. Even better, it's currently 75% off on Steam, not a sponsor. However, if you do want to check out these games, you can do so down below with my affiliate link. The next game is Killing Floor, which started as an Unreal Tournament 2004 mod. It's a community horror shooter, is the best way to describe it, I think, and it is now a full franchise. The makers Tripwire turned a niche mod into a sustainable game studio. And the next one is combining that sustainability with, once again, the Valve platform. Because Black Mesa started as a fan remake of Half-Life. It's a passion project by the community, which was eventually approved improved and published on Steam. It's one of the rare cases where Valve basically said, you did it better. We talked earlier about Counterstrike and how that was a mod for Half-Life, but the coolest thing is that Counterstrike Source would also give away 2 mods that would become standalone titles later. The biggest one in my opinion being Insurgency, which was developed by a small group of modders that would later become New World Interactive, and their goal was really just to make Counter-Strike slower, deadlier, and more realistic. It built a hardcore niche following, would later go standalone as Insurgency, and then evolved into Insurgency Sandstorm. It's one of those games that succeeded because it didn't chase mass appeal, but doubled down on its niche. The last game I'm going to be talking about is No More Room in Hell. Once again, started as a Half-Life 2 mod, Half-Life is just such a gift to the world. And it was inspired by George A. Romero's zombie films. If you're a zombies fan, you know who that is. The dev team had a motto: when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. And it was an unforgiving game. Zombies weren't just cannon fodder, one bite meant you were infected, and this game built on the trend of the day, which was releasing these co-op zombie games like, for example, Left 4 Dead. It went free to play on Steam in 2013, is still maintained up till today, and has received the sequel in 2024 that was not super well received, but that doesn't take away from the impact that the first game had on the gaming community. These are some of the biggest franchises that have been made by the community, essentially by you guys, for you guys. If you have any other games that you know were made by the community, I would love to hear about it. My personal favorites on this list obviously being Hytale, Counterstrike, and Dayz, because I'm inherently a sandbox, survival, and shooter player, but I'd love to hear your guys' favorites. And did you know that all of these started as mods or community projects? Regardless, this has been sirbear, and I will see you next video.